Hello all, I'm Markerless. Today we have the first live event of Moverse. We are going to have a great discussion between academic people and researchers using Markerless motion capture in their workflows. So I'm going to say a few words first for Moverse, and then we can, of course, move forward to the actual discussion. So you probably know that Moverse is building Moverse Capture, one of the most flexible studio-grade motion capture solutions for anyone, anywhere. Some key advantages of our technology is that, of course, it is markerless. There's no need for suits and markers and sensors, so it's very easy to use it and very quick. We use standard cameras off the shelf that you can find easily from e-stores. It's something that you can easily set up even alone. It's going to take less than 30 minutes to set all the cameras and tripods and cables, everything alone. It's a portable solution. You can move it everywhere. The cameras are under ISO IP67 and they are very robust, so no worries about moving it here and there. And of course, it is integration ready. It is compatible with all the well-known software that are around the market. Regarding the key features, it is a solution that works in real time. The real time is always useful either for live streaming or, for instance, for pre-visualization for content creation. It is multi-person. You can track up to 4 people simultaneously. And of course, this is going to scale soon. We support automatic cleanup. After recording an animation, you can use automatic services on the cloud to clean up the animation and use it in your production. We support finger tracking, again, in the cloud services, so you can have finger tracking in your animations. It is not supported yet in the live capture, but it's going to come this year. Then, of course, we have a web portal that allows easy access to the assets and the animations that you have already captured with the studio. Some rig adaptation services that allow animators to, and of course other professionals, to export directly the animations in specific rigs in order to accelerate their production. And we support also live streaming to Unreal Engine, Unity, and other solutions. So mainly we support 2 end-to-end workflows for content creation and live streaming. For content creation, you use the Moverse Capture Studio to capture your actors, to record the sequences, and then you can select which ones you want to actually use, to upload them on the cloud through the hub, and finally to have the possibility to reprocess them in the portal, and of course to export them directly in the different file formats that you want to use. And the live streaming is simpler. You have already the actors, you set the streams. Basically, you select the IPs, the ports per actor, and then you can easily stream the motion data to Unreal Engine, Unity, and other DCC software. So quickly, we are going to say and inform you that we have a new version of Moverse Capture with various updates regarding the calibration, the quality of the calibration, but also an important new feature is the remote control. So there's an API and an SDK that allows you now to control the studio and the capturing through your software. We are going to talk and see a bit together the new Moverse portal. It's a facelift of our portal and some user experience improvements. And finally, we can end this quick intro with the new website of the company. So I'm going to start with the portal. This is Moverse portal. This is where you actually manage your assets, your recordings that are ready to be used as animation assets. We have a new interface. It is a facelift of the previous version. So here we have added a new widget for filtering the animations, so to accelerate a bit the way that you explore your assets, especially in the case that you have already too many. So the filtering is based on the number of factors, if you have finger tracking or not, and of course the date that you recorded and the name of the asset. So what else you can do here is that you can actually see in a viewer the recording, what exactly you have recorded with Moverse capture. This is the raw version. You can see all the different versions if you have used already reprocessing. So the body reprocessing gives you the same animation but clean. All the body animation has already been cleaned, automatically. But also there is the version with the fingers. So in that case, you have also the possibility to have finger tracking in your recording. Of course, the reprocessing is happening through these buttons here, and when you have all the data, you can export in different file formats like GLB, FBX, TRC. USD is coming soon. Of course, you can select the different version of the data. So, for instance, the raw, the reprocessed only for body, or reprocessed with body and fingers, and then different rigs like the initial SMPL one, or Mixamo or Actor Core. Here, just to mention that for every different user, we can have different rigs personalized, and some extra options about the fingers in the case that you don't have the finger tracking installed. And of course, then you can just click export. So that way you can now easily manage your assets quickly. We can see some 4-person captures here, reprocessed with fingers. Always remember that depending on the setup, the camera placement, the quality of the fingers can vary. So if you wish, for instance, to have a lot of detail in the finger movements, just use a closer setup. So that's it about the portal, and quickly we can also see the new website. So here what we try to do is to communicate better and a bit verbose what's going on with Moverse and the product. You can find all the details that you can find. You can find all the details you would like to know about Moverse, some partnerships, compatibility, use cases, of course. But the most informative section, most informative page is Moverse Capture, where you can find everything related to the product. You can see actual videos from third-party companies and organizations. You can see all the features of the software in detail with explanation what's doing what and what are the possibilities for the studio, of course, for the hub. All the details that are necessary in order to understand the range of possibilities you have with Moverse Capture and the different workflows. Of course, in this page, you will see extra information about the capturing setup, the possibilities regarding the area, the recommendations of the company for the number of cameras, depending on the number of factors, etc. Also, the supported cameras and the ones that are going to come soon. Of course, if you have any question, you can contact us at any time. Details about the AI reprocessing, because it's a feature that it's good to see how it works and understand what it gives you, because it's not the standard straightforward mocap process workflow. And of course, information about the remote control, what we said before, the new feature, how you can use it, how you can, let's say, benefit from that in a way that you can do your work even faster. And of course, the necessary details about our plans, the way that we offer the software to the users and customers, and also the separate part of the post-process add-on for the credits online to do the reprocessing for better quality animation and finger tracking. So basically, feel free to visit our website, Moverse.ai, and check for yourself looking on there. Now it's time to pass the microphone to our moderator and our great speakers, and listen some important things on how exactly markerless motion capture can accelerate workflows and processes in academia, specifically in creative academia. And now I will ask from Daniel Strutt, a great professor in this industry and a great friend, to moderate the discussion about how we remove friction in academia. Please.
Hi there. So I'm Dr. Daniel Strutt. Obviously, this panel is called Removing Friction in Creative Academia. This is something that I have great experience of. I've got about 10 years worth of research with motion capture at Goldsmiths University through my own research outfit called Goldsmiths MoCap Streamer. I was working primarily with dancers in virtual environments and using motion capture to bring people together remotely, starting in COVID and then later on through just in kind of more artistic and increasingly professional settings. A huge priority for me, I should say that research was funded by institutions such as the British Academy in the UK and Arts and Humanities Research Council and ESPRC also in the UK. And particularly the British Academy research was centered on accessibility and inclusivity. So a huge part of that was about differently shaped bodies, differently abled bodies, but also to a large extent affordability. Now this led to me working closely with Moverse on a couple of big funding bids, and also spending time with them in the USA and in the UK at SIGGRAPH and other such tech and trade festivals. And I've always taken a keen interest in their work, specifically along this idea of adaptability, scalability, and accessibility. So that's me. And I'm going to moderate this panel discussion later on. I'm going to introduce each of the speakers first of all, and then I'll be directing, they'll give a short presentation, about 7, 8, 9 minutes. So we'll have 4 of those from 4 different institutions, each of which are already using Moverse in research, teaching, learning context, and for artistic applications. And then I will fire some questions at them in a panel type thing, and we'll have some time at the end for Q&A, I believe, if all goes well. So I will introduce the first couple of speakers who are from Aalto University Studios. This is Antti and Bjarke. We will have a short transition screen between each of the presentations as well, so just bear with us while we switch presentations. But yeah, let's go into Antti and Bjarke's short speech.
Okay, so this is our latest investment, our Moverse Markerless setup, which we have installed at Aalto Studios a couple of weeks ago in a smaller studio in our media center. We call it the XR Studio. We do some small-scale virtual production. We do virtual reality research in this space, and now we can also do motion capture. We have 8 ceiling-mounted cameras with a capture area of 3 by 5 meters. We are also running the capture software on one PC, one high-end workstation. And we are streaming to Unreal Engine also to another PC on the same network. And this space can be accessed by anyone in Aalto University, so students, teachers, and staff members can book this space by themselves. So we try to encourage self-use of this space with the Markerless MoCap system. And our different use cases in Aalto include other MoCap software also. So we have all kinds of MoCap technologies. And for this, and now we have also added the Markerless setup to this. So we are now using it on a large scale for teaching and also trying to have as many different departments use it as possible. So we are including computer science, animation, media, virtual production, all the areas where we use these kinds of systems. Of course, animation is like traditional workflows, like animation can now benefit from the ease of use of these markerless systems because we are these systems are quite user friendly and we get more use for students with these systems. Also the reduced calibration time between users is increasing our efficiency as we're also reducing the workload on technical teams and also teachers who are using the system. We've noticed that the trade-off between accuracy and user friendliness is also something that has changed during the years. So the quality gap is closing compared to traditional systems. So now we are also tailor-making the experience for every project. So every project goes through a process, and we recommend the best MoCap technology depending on the use case and the type of motion. And we can now go to our example. So here is a recent first project that we tried with the Markerless MoCap, new Markerless MoCap system. So this is a postdoc researchers project, Alice Reader's projects in digital costume design. And here we are combining virtual reality with Markerless MoCap. So we have the Moverse system running, and we are also having the motion of the VR headset attached to the Markerless system.
And then we want to wrap up and conclude with some thoughts and ideas about Markerless motion capture. It is simple as compared to the other marker-based and suit-based systems. It's simple for new users. We want to encourage and also multiple simultaneous users. And we, as Bjarke said, we want to make it easily accessible and encourage self-use, so that will reduce the workload from technical personnel like Bjarke. And that increases the effectiveness of our use of resources. We have an increased usage rate, so and then we can also combine various technologies, motion capture with, let's say, virtual reality, as in the previous case in costume design, or virtual productions. And now we've had the system running a few weeks and run already some courses with students, and they come up with new ideas and unforeseen ideas and even some crazy ideas. So we try to encourage them to try it out, because that's what we are for, serving community and enable new ways and new interdisciplinary ways, and encourage new users from the fields in engineering and business and arts and design who have perhaps haven't used motion capture before to create something new. Meanwhile, we increase the usage rate. So you can find more information on our websites, and you can reach us directly by sending an email to magics@aalto.fi. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Really interesting. I love this flexibility that you suggest. And you can just jump on and have a go. So we will be moving to the next presentation from SAE Athens, a research institution. George, Adios, and Melina.
Hello, I'm George Thanos. I'm the head of the animation department here in the SAE Athens. SAE is in the National Institute with about 50 campuses around the world, in Asia, United States, South America, Dubai, Amman, Singapore, and other places, but the most of them are in Europe. About 25 or 30 of the 50 are in Europe. For example, Germany only has about 9 campuses, I think. It's the biggest in SAE. We're here from the animation department is in SAE Athens from 2012. We run a bachelor in game art and animation. Mostly is game art, about 65-70%, but is very versatile, and it depends on the student how to use the modules and proceed to the bachelor. The MoCap is heavily integrated in our system and in our curriculum right now. It's the second, I think it's the second semester we use it here. It's very useful, especially the markerless option, because in animation department, 3 years of the BA, we have about 75 or 80 students. So imagine how difficult it is to have a costume and change costumes and the time you need to. Also, a marker system is work very, very well in our PCs and installation. So I think right now I didn't see some cases we need something more, like something with markers or something like that. Mostly we use motion capture the second and the third year because we start with animation principles in the first year. We hand-to-hand animation and other stuff like that. But in the second year, we integrate the motion capture in order to use, of course, with motion, but also to pose the characters the students made. So we found that there's an option to use the mocap in order to provide a pose which after that will be transferred in, let's say, statue or a miniature or figurine. So we can froze the time and keep some poses, which is the third semester's goal, because the students make their own character, and after that they have to pose it and give them a specific dynamic pose, etc., etc. After that, you use the mocap in all the 3 other semesters, the 4th, the 5th, and the 6th, in order to use it specifically for motion. And also, we have introduced the previous semester. We've introduced a game studio, which is a collaboration between the students of the game art and animation in my department and the games programming department. So the goal is to, and the scope is to create games to publish on Steam after that. So there is a collaboration, and the second game will be we will start the production will start in the next October, who has characters and monsters and other things. We will use the mocap heavily, I think. So that's it, the situation in Athens. And I would like to pass Marius and Melina the speech. And if you please could show the video we prepared. And after that, we can use some demonstration of the mocap system.
Hello, greetings from us also. I'm Melina. I will keep this briefly. I'm a supervisor at SAE at the moment. Our role here is to support students however we can during the curriculum and their classes. So now about motion capture, and as George said already beautifully, yes, it helps us a lot in the curriculum, and also specifically we use it in animation classes also. That helps us very much bridge the theory and practice. And we also let students test it and see how, and also see for themselves how the principles they learn can also transfer once they generate their own motion, and see how it translates exactly to the digital character. And we also use it in movement and anatomy classes, and that helps them like act their own movement and see how is it translated into 3D, and then later on analyze it. And in all, it breaks the gap between technical and see that they can also perform and all this action. So I will
Yes.
pass the.
Yeah, and I'm Marius. We can see a little bit of the video that we have made here.
Yes.
So, wait,
Valeto.
this is
Hmm.
here. Yeah, that's a small video.
Mari, can you remove the Gmit minimize menu?
That's great. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. So I'm going to give Spiros a little more time to switch around the presentations, and I'll say from my personal experience, I know from doing workshops with sensor systems, how difficult it is to get, maybe 5 suits off one team onto the next team, and the obstacles that brings, never mind magnetic interference and drift and calibration processes as it goes onto each different body. Changing height settings in various interfaces and things like that. So yeah, I really can see that you working with large groups of students, it's so easy and facilitate it. So if I could ask Panayiotis and Mercè to share their presentation, that would be great. And then, so Panayiotis and Mercè from CYENS in Cyprus, and they will give their presentation just now. Okay, we're good to go. Thank you so much for waiting. Panayiotis and Mercè from CYENS.
Okay, so hi everyone. My name is Panayiotis, and I'm leading a team at CYENS, which is called PULSE, and our subtitle is basically Living, Breathing Virtual Worlds. And our goal is to breathe life to virtual worlds, right? So, well, what's this? So, CYENS is basically located at the place that you see on the bottom right. It's on the island of Cyprus, and more specifically, we are on in Nicosia, right next to the buffer zone that separates the two parts of Cyprus. So CYENS is a research center on interactive media, smart systems, and emerging technologies. And we were born in 2018. It's a center of excellence that was funded by the European Union. We're being coordinated by the municipality of Nicosia, but we have close collaborations with the 3 public universities, plus Max Planck Institute in Germany and University College London in the UK. So we do a lot of technologies that are related to a lot of the smart specialization strategies of the island. But more generically, we aim to do excellent research and apply our technologies into solving real world problems, right? So we have a lot of multidisciplinary teams. We do research in various areas. We do, however, see them split into 3 main directions. One of them is visual sciences, so that's graphics, computer animation, computer vision. The other one is human factors and design, and that's all about how humans interact with systems. And of course, communications and AI. And my team is basically in the visual sciences part. So we are currently running a lot of projects, most of them European funded Horizon projects. So we have our own makerspace where we do a lot of very interesting projects with artists. Specifically, you see here some screenshots and short videos of some of these projects. We have our own arts and technology festival. I'm not play a video because we don't have the time now, but you can visit the link below to learn more about it. It's organized every year. It's going to be in October, and this is a very nice festival where we integrate technology and art together to educate the public and bring people together to learn more about us and what we do. So we have a lot of laboratories from anything related to psychophysics, eye tracking, IoT, VR, robotics, laser scanning, clusters, etc. But most importantly, we have what we call CYENS Studio, which is basically a small virtual production studio that has a lot of nice equipment. So we do have, so we do a lot of experimentation here. So what you see is screenshots from a workshop that we did with some friends from the UK, where we were educating cameramen on how to do virtual production using these kind of systems. Now we have LED walls. So you see here our system. You will also see it in a bit when we show around the studio. Well, we also have a lot of MoCap devices. So we do have our own optical motion capture system, which is the phase-based system. We have a lot of inertia-based motion capture systems, including Rococo and Xsense, including facial capture and body and hand tracking. And you see here some of the experiments we do with students for specific European projects. I'm skipping this, but the idea is that we have a lot of toys that we like to play around, both for applied stuff, but also for research. So we have our own volumetric capture system. So that's a system that basically allows you to capture a 4D representation of somebody. So basically a 3D mesh over time. So it's what's called the Everco system. And you see here our very lovely lab manager dancing in front of the system. And we do a lot of projects, right? So we have a lot of European projects we apply and use our research to with this technology. So what you see here is from a European funded project called Premiere, where we were streaming a live performance, including the dancer, motion, lights, lasers, whatever, into a VR setting. And actually you could join remotely from your country and take part in the performance. So we built our own motion VR streaming platform for that. So we're going to talk a little bit about more about that in a bit. So we also apply our research in other domains like health. So you see here experiments where we took motion capture systems abroad, and we were training people that were doing health-related tasks with patients using MoCap and VR in a shared environment. We also do a lot of very nice projects where we do actually multimodal capture, where we capture both MoCap, audio, MIDI, whatever, facial capture, using different devices. And we built our own databases, and for two reasons. One is to share data to people to develop interesting projects, but also to do our own research in doing a multimodal control or whatever. So for example, this is from a recent paper where we are synthesizing the motion of a drummer.
Using MIDI sequencing.
Pause this. Where we are synthesizing the motion of a drummer only from MIDI data. So given MIDI data, how can you animate a drummer to play that thing? We also do a lot of research in crowds, and that's something that we are really interested in doing with the Moverse system. That's why that's one of the reasons that we are experimenting with this. We are building systems where basically we are training autonomous agents to behave in the presence of other agents. Right. So to do that, we typically get videos of people and we train them as dots, and then we train models to do that. Right. We also have some nice projects. We had a very recent project with the Louvre where basically we animated some statues to talk and say some poems. I don't know if you hear the audio, but it doesn't matter right now. It's one of the things that we like to do here is like experimenting with technologies to give life to interesting monuments. This is a project where we had our own research director give a talk in sign language. He doesn't know sign language, so we had a person being motion tracked and applied on his avatar that we created using photogrammetry and other technologies. And last week, and that's something that we cannot show actually, we had a very nice workshop with artists from the Netherlands and the UK, where basically we were streaming live dance from different locations in the same virtual space for artists to experiment with. Unfortunately, we can't show this because we don't get a clearance from the artist to show the work, but we can do a very quick live demo of our system so that you get an idea of what's happening.
Yeah, I'm gonna calibrate the Panayiotis.
Okay.
Starting now. Now, my second our application.
So what we're doing now is we're so the system is now creating the session in a specific virtual environment for the maquette one. It's basically a scan of the maquette around start up. So that's the setting, and now you can see I'm being stripped in that environment, right? So now Mercè is gonna join that session, and she's gonna be streaming herself using a different mockup system. It's gonna be the Moverse. It's gonna be Rococo, actually, right?
Yes.
Or Noiton. Placing yourself in the VR space. And actually, with a VR headset, we can actually be immersed in the setting. So what's happening is now we have a monthly user setting, and we can actually have people interacting in the same VR environment, right? And that's something we want to do for various applications. And one of the main things that we are experimenting now is with artists and how they can use these spaces to do different types of interactions. I don't think we have enough time to play more with this, but this is a quick demo of our system and how we integrate different mockup systems to allow for different systems to be collaborating together. So thank you guys. Going back to my screen.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Okay, so we're going to do the last switch around. Bear with us while we do this, and if Brandon Powers can share the presentation, and we'll just wait for the go-ahead before we start this final presentation. But I love this application from CYENS, bringing two characters from different mocap systems into the same virtual space is exactly the problem I was trying to crack and did successfully, but in different ways. So it's just really enjoyable for me to see that. It's so tangible in its use cases, for sure.
Thank you.
Okay, we're good to go. Thank you, Brandon, for waiting.
No problem. Hi, everyone. It's great to be here with you. Thank you for having me. My name is Brandon Powers. I'm coming to you from New York City, and we've been working with Moverse over the last several months on our new creative tool for choreographers. It's called Impulse. I'm going to start by introducing you high level to myself, and then we're going to go into Impulse, how we're working particularly with folks in the performing arts. And I'll be able to give you a live demo of our plugin for Unreal Engine. So I am a director, choreographer, and technology translator working across performance and immersive technology in XR and AI. And I've had work presented in many different contexts, both online and in many festivals around the world. I like to explore my practice kind of with these main pillars of create, build, and transform. That I'm focused on creating these immersive experiences, also building interdisciplinary collaboration between artists and technologists so they can learn from each other, and transforming embodiment and how these further technological tools can be in really good facilitation with our bodies and making sure we're taking care of them, utilizing my choreographic background. And so all of these three things really have come together in the creation of Impulse, which emerged from my residency at Lincoln Center here in New York City last year as part of their Collider Fellowship, which is their new residency for artists exploring performance and technology. Impulse is a real-time choreographic visualization tool that extends the dance studio into digital space. And it was co-founded with myself and Whit Sellers to kind of bring this to life. And so Impulse really emerged from two main challenges that I was experiencing as a choreographer that we began to learn that many others were experiencing as well, which is that there was this big challenge and roadblock in the choreographic process. It's really hard to be able to create large scale work without access to a full dance company, right? Many students don't have that access. Many independent artists don't have that access. And so many dances don't get materialized because we don't have the ability to imagine what's possible at scale. And simultaneously, motion capture we know is really powerful, but it's just not built for performance and it's not built for artists. Especially here in the States, the access to motion capture is very, very limited, particularly for independent artists and institutions that are not universities. Many universities do have setups, but they're not very open to anyone who doesn't work at that university. And those traditional pipelines, even if you had access to them, are really technically challenging and require entire teams to utilize and require a lot of knowledge in order to get everything set up properly in Unreal Engine and all these different various softwares. And so this makes real-time visualization impractical, and no one's really utilizing it for that because it would take way too much time and cost way too much money. And further, other motion capture solutions that require suits and sensors like we were just discussing that are not Moverse are just too hard to set up. And that is just an immediate no-go for folks working in performance because, especially again, here in the States, time is money and there's very limited resource. And so that's why we've been really excited to be partnering with Moverse. And so Whit and I really wanted to create a tool that moves at the speed of choreographers' imagination, which is what we were able to begin to create with Impulse to solve these challenges. So Impulse makes the motion capture process radically more accessible, and by turning this highly technical process into a much more streamlined, creator-friendly one. And we're able to take the movement of one dancer and multiply it across many digital bodies, so you can begin to see your ideas come to life. And it operates as a plugin for Unreal Engine. So we're leveraging all the powers of Unreal Engine already. And we're able to take all those processes and turn them into very simple buttons so that folks who have never touched Unreal Engine before or motion capture can utilize motion capture now. We actually did a launch workshop with Lincoln Center and New York City Ballet last month. We only launched as a company about 6 weeks ago. We were teaching a motion capture workshop for like 6-year-olds. And they were utilizing Impulse really simply. So it really shows you how much we've been able to get everything simplified. And the main process works by first capturing your movement, which we've loved doing with Moverse, creating how our dance wants to be visualized through multiplication and different formations, and then being able to share it out in a video file. And I'm going to walk us through that process in a moment. We really see this being really effective for many different use cases, from commercial producers in theatrical productions or major conferences or Super Bowl halftime shows or opening ceremonies for large-scale events where you never really get to see your work before you have the opportunity to get all those 100 people in a room. Dance companies who have been using video and hand notation for decades now have Impulse to be able to bring their ideas to life and work together. Independent choreographers who don't have access to these additional bodies in the space. And we've been seeing a really strong match with educational institutions, because many of these folks, as you're seeing here today, do have this infrastructure, but they're struggling sometimes to find the interdisciplinary way to bring lots of people together to utilize it, because maybe folks from the dance department or theater department don't have the technical background. And so now you can get them really hands-on in Unreal Engine in a powerful way. And then institutions that don't have motion capture, we're able to bring it to them. And that's partially why partnering with Moverse has been so fantastic, because it's a really great system that's been mobile for us to bring to different events on the go in order to set up and make sure everyone's jumping in really, really quickly. And so, yeah, here's like an example. We were able to be a part of a present conference called Filmgate in Miami. Moverse supported us there in order to bring the system down. And so folks are able to just jump in, start playing and exploring what's possible. I've been really referring to Moverse as the like Goldilocks solution for MoCap and Markerless. And what I mean by that is that it has this really kind of sweet spot of quality and a really sweet spot in accessibility of price. And that's something, especially here in the States, is really important, because other Markerless solutions are significantly more expensive and they are not as mobile as Moverse is. And so we've been able to pitch to our clients, hey, we have this great partnership with a system that you can take down really easily, move to another studio, get people to just jump in without having to move on suits, and it's not going to be an unbelievably large institutional investment, which has become a really big roadblock for many of these institutions. Yes, so and as you're seeing today, MoCap and performance is being utilized a lot of time in real time and via recording. This is a picture from this piece called Mercè, which is a beautiful piece by Lisa Jamori, a friend of mine. But as you see, it's using OptiTrack, right? Like that has been a lot of the paradigm so far. And I think this opportunity to move into Markerless now doesn't mean that the bodies need to feel so separate from the screen, right? Things can feel much more connected because we don't have to worry about special costuming. So now I'm gonna very quickly just jump us over to show you how we work. I'm going to present something else. Perfect. This should work. Fantastic. So as I mentioned, Impulse is a plugin for Unreal Engine. When you load in, you get our sample project, which already has this stage set up inside it. And Impulse is this panel that you see here on the right, which has taken all of those challenging motion capture pipeline abilities and turned them into simple buttons. And we've also translated the language from technical language into artist forward language. So things like sequences and animations are now dances and dance phrases. And that simple act has really been transformative for artists that we're working with. And so you come here, you're able to create a new sequence. And then you decide how long you want your dance to be. Let's say 90 seconds. We just hit configure, and it's going to open up our sequencer. And then this is going to operate as our timeline, which is something that many dancers are familiar with because many dancers already do video editing. And then we're going to think about adding our dancers in. So let's say we want 15. All we have to do is say add to sequence. And just like that, we have a full digital dance company, numbered, color-coded, ready to go, and lined up on our sequencer. For folks who are working in Unreal Engine, especially folks on this call, they'll know that alone probably saved you at least, 30 to an hour just to do that before we've even gotten started. You're able to change the size of your stage very easily. Anything that you could, have to usually hunt around in menus has now been taken and moved here. And then the real centerpiece is this dancer panel where we're able to highlight and select all our dancers, select a phrase that we've recorded. We do everything in LiveLink. I'm not in my studio to be able to show you that live, but we have pre-recorded movement that we made with Moverse here. So I just select that and I just say add to start, and just like that, everyone's dancing. And so it's really that simple. And so the simplicity of working with Impulse combined with the simplicity of working with Moverse has really been transformative for us and our clients. And of course, you can move people around, change formations, which I'm happy to explore at another time because I know we're out of time here. But that is kind of a sense of what we're doing with Moverse and Impulse. And so feel free to reach out, createwithimpulse.com and founders at createwithimpulse.com. Thanks so much.
Thank you so much. Really good to see. This is also a problem I was working on with Clemence de Beek, who I believe you know, Brandon.
Yes, absolutely.
and with Alexander Whitley. So I really see the value in a piece of software like that. So yeah, we're now moving to a panel discussion, or I'm going to fire some questions at our presenters. But it's obvious that we're seeing here a variety of different contexts for research, some student-facing, catering student needs, some industry-facing, some purely scientific research-facing, and some more directed at specific disciplines and disciplinary contexts like dance. So it's really, really great to see. But I will start with a question to all the panelists, and we'll just go through in sequence as they presented, to ask what the initial catalyst was for adopting new markerless technology. When we first introduced to markerless, and what was the critical turning point that said we need to move into this field? So starting with Antti and Bjarke at Aalto, what was your primary stimulus to move into markerless MoCap here?
I can start answering this. Basically, we've had already interest in Markerless MoCap 6 years ago, where we did some tests and trying things with other markerless systems in our existing MoCap stage, where we're using marker-based stuff. And we had many similar, because we are very interested in user friendliness for the students, so they can use the systems by themselves and also test out things and having a less of a more accessibility basically for these systems. But 6 years ago we had they were still quite hard to use. They were complicated, and they also had some accuracy issues. But now the technology has moved forward, and we got to know the Moverse people from another project, through another project. And so we decided, now we saw it was easy to use, it filled the things that we are looking for in a MoCap system. So we then basically had the push to go and invest in a system, because it was filling our needs quite well now.
Yes, I could add here this. My colleague was coordinating an Horizon Europe project where we dealt out funding to third parties, and Moverse was one of those projects. Had a project where they developed the AI part of the their markerless system, and I was supervising them in the project, and quickly found out that now here we have a functioning system at reasonable price and easiness of use. So we wanted to take it up.
Great. So I love that idea of a tipping point in technological progress, but specifically within your experimental practice where it's adaptable. Okay, so the same question to SAE, to George, Marios, and Melina. What was the critical tipping point for you that said now is the time for to invest in Moverse and Markerless?
Yeah, I think for us is the only way to proceed with education, and with a large amount of students. Maybe I say large, but as I said before, are about 75 students already, somewhere between. So I think, as I said, there's no way to proceed in an alternate method. It's very, especially Moverse, is very easy to use. The calibration is very easy also. Imagine that we have groups of students, a department and a cohort are about 20 to 30 students. So we managed to let them in the system in a 3-hour session. And all the students use the motion capture, recording, and etc. So it's very easy. It is possible because of the easiest amount of software we use, and the portal also. But also because the system is manageable, and we found no bugs until now, especially in the real time.
Yeah, and before some years we had a suit, but it was a problem for us because I have seen it with my own eyes. We had a class, and the teacher wanted to do some examples, and so she wore the suit, but then she needed to take the students make the movement. So we lost about 20 minutes for people to change the suit. It was not working very well for us, and when Moverse came, it was a very big change because we didn't know what to do with the time that we had teaching. For example, we put here like 20 people at a time and make them reenact movements to do them whatever they want. But yeah, it's a big time saver for teaching purposes.
Yes.
and also going for production things. For example, we have time to make also mistakes. For example, students don't know what they want to do. They can experiment freely, and that's very good for them because they can see their own mistakes, and it's not expensive for time's sake for us because we have a lot of time and let them practice and do whatever they want.
Yeah. It's mostly different for us because we mostly use it for educational purposes, and it's a great environment and opportunity to have it here so students can experience it with their own eyes and test it, and it's a chance that they can see moving forward in the industry. So yeah.
Great, thank you. Yeah, I love this. Sorry.
As Melina said before, we have movement classes, I mean actual movement, not motion capture, along with animation classes in 3D and 2D. So the students are prepared for the movement, and then the teacher, she's going to get the students and went to the space where Melina and Marius are here. So we combine the actual movement and the motion capture with two goals. First of all, students understand their body and their movement, and second, to train them to act keep in mind that they will act in order to get the movement, and to act keep in mind that they are in motion capture.
Thank you. So yeah, time saving, clear thing there, and scalability, quite simply, moving people through. I love this, particularly this concept of allowing people to test and fail and iterate, and which is an inherent part of teaching and learning, right? So I'll move on to CYENS. Obviously, you have a wide variety of different MoCap systems and tools available to you. So what for you was the gain when you moved towards Markerless Moverse?
Well, I have to be honest, it's not moving away from other systems. It's about trying to see which one is best for every case, right? So for us, we're a research center, so we do care about having high quality data, and it depends on always the use case. So, I mean, we do have an optical marker system. That one is capable, let's say, of doing 900 frames per second, which has a potential application in specific, very dynamic movements and very high quality captures, let's say, for athletes or whatever. The markerless system allows us to iterate quickly. I mean, you saw, I just stood up, I went there, and the guys could automatically open up the server and others can join without having any hassle. So that allows us to iterate quickly. What I appreciate about Moverse, I would say, is the ability to capture multiple people at the same time, which allows us to do other types of interactions in the same space. So I showed at some point that we have this crowd simulation thing where we build AI models for characters to interact with. Most of these that are out there, they typically do very simply, too much simplification of people. It's like a sphere or a circle, and you have some kind of a movement that is kind of 2D. But having now complete mock-up of 3 or 4 people in the same space acting, doing handshakes, doing high fives, dancing or whatever, that allows us to build more intelligent systems. So that's one of the reasons that we appreciate Moverse a lot. So for us, it's not moving away, it's using what's best for each use case. So, right, so, and I have to be honest, Moverse is one of the simplest, if not the simplest systems that we have tested up to now. I believe it's probably the simplest, right? Yeah.
So just simplicity, use find affordability or time saving, just simply just plug and play, right? Yeah. That's always been a research goal of mine. Plug and play for the non-experts, for sure.
And also, a lot of the inertia-based systems, the ones that have sensors, they do suffer from very dynamic movements, like people lifting their feet off the floor and dancing and doing backflips or whatever. other systems cry. At some point, they do have a lot of issues with that, right? But we noticed that we didn't have a lot of these issues with Moverse. Yeah.
Well, that's a good point to move to Brandon with the same question, because you already mentioned this about specifically working with dancers, and what for you is about Markerless MoCap, how you came to it, and what made you move towards it, invest in it as your main partnership.
Yeah, so I definitely agree with everyone else, and second, what people are saying about simplicity and setup. I think what's been really powerful for us is how Moverse has become kind of our go-to for all our live demos, because the significant part of how we're really onboarding new folks is they got to see it to understand it, especially folks in the performing arts who are not traditionally exposed to immersive technology. They need to come to our studio and see it, or we need to be able to bring it to them and show them what's possible. And Markerless allows for both of those things to be possible in a really simple way, especially because, we haven't mentioned anything about, wiring or networking, but, the fact that we can just do everything, power over Ethernet into our own switch and not even be plugged into someone's network is like a million times helpful because it's a nightmare having to plug a Ethernet cord into someone else's system with any of these other systems. So that's been really powerful. Also being able to take things up and down really fast. Typically when I give demos, I set the whole system up by myself every time, and then I take it down by myself. And we don't need to go into any trusses. I just throw it up on some C-stands. And then I think the last element here, which is important for Moverse in particular, is their level of support and their team. They're a small team, and that is extremely advantageous, especially in this market around motion capture. We don't feel like just another, group of artists to them. When we are having challenges, like we're directly on the phone with, Álvarez or Spiros, you know what I mean? So we can, we just text them. So it makes that really, really important for us. And we know that given the kind of white glove service we're trying to offer to our clients, that Moverse is like on board with that sort of support. So want to shout that out as well.
Yeah, certainly my experience of Moverse also is that they don't have the tech team off in a back room or a basement floor. They are the tech team, and they are so responsive in that. But I love this idea of taking the tech to people, particularly, especially when in school environments with children or people who have disabilities. This is so key to take the technology to people rather than getting them to travel to you in so many different contexts that I've experienced. So I'm going to move to just one single tailored question for each of our teams, our presenters, that maybe sort of focuses in a little bit on what you specifically do within your organization. So the first question is for Aalto, and it's you've spoken extensively about this diversity in use cases and the sort of ethos of experimentalism that you use. But the question is really about, how does removing these traditional barriers sort of drive up your daily use, and also specifically how does that work when applying for funding and for research funding and inviting that in? So yeah, to Antti and Bjarke.
Well, I can start with daily use case because I'm mostly the one who's doing the workshops, doing the courses. So in contrast to using, for example, our sensor-based systems, where we have large group of students using the system during the same day, it saves, of course, a lot of time with the markerless system, like others have also already mentioned. And of course, in Aalto, we have students from every different field. So we have artistic students, we have the engineering students, and all these people. So having something that's easy to access and book for projects or testing is very important for us, and that is something that the markerless system brings us when we have it in a space that's accessible to everyone. And they can easily use it for their own projects and do tests, and then they can decide, do they want to move forward with motion capture, continuing doing tests with either continuing to use the markerless system or combining it with other systems.
Yes, and as we mentioned, the Magix infrastructure, which is just the top of iceberg in virtualization and human measurement of human experience. We have like thousands of pieces of different audiovisual equipment in Aalto studios, several motion capture system, virtual production systems, and we mostly the university is obviously the major funder. We are the major funder ourselves, but we also apply for funding in national funding, and we aim at European level. We are a new infrastructure. The Research Council of Finland is the major funding institution in Finland. We applied, and we just recently last week again, and one of the major questions to justify the investments is, what's the usage rate of your proposed equipment? So we can say the whole idea of Aalto Studios and Magix is to open up equipment for as many users as possible, instead of each research group purchasing, each laboratory and professor purchasing equipment for their own use, and they would stay on the shelf for most of the time. We open it up as much as possible. We have a takeout.aalto.fi where anybody can book the equipment and spaces and take them self-use, or they can be guided in teaching, in research, and then we get the usage rate up. Like motion capture is one of the most used services we have, is practically using all the time. So it's very easy to justify then that, yes, give us more funding, because we get the benefits from it.
Yeah. That really resonates, this idea that people raise funding, buy tech, and then the tech ends up in a cupboard somewhere. And then the institutional knowledge of how to use that tech leaves in a couple of years, or it becomes redundant. So it's, you know, what you're saying here resonates a lot with my institutional context as well. Okay, so the next question is for SAE in Athens. And the question, we've spoken about iteration, failure, feedback, and testing concepts in the studio. But, you know, the question, I guess, is about after the studio, after the capture session. You've spoken also about animation training in the first year of education. So how do you handle the challenges of sharing, reviewing, collaborating on the data and the different forms of data after the capture session?
Yeah, I think Marius and Melina could answer that, and also mention the pipeline we use after that, the motion capture.
Yeah, because we have many students, and each of them wants to do a different kind of thing. So as many of you do, we also do that here. For example, we book the station, and the students sit here and do their recordings. And also with the use of the cloud that Moverse has, they take their files, and from there we go to 3ds Max, for example. The process is very nice, because with the cloud there is auto processing. With the old mocap shoots and data, it was very noisy, and you had to do a lot of cleanup. But using this kind of technology here, it's very easy for us, because the only thing that we need to fix, and the students need to fix, is a little bit of the foot placement, or the minor things that every camera does and capture. So it's very easy for everyone, because all the heavy lifting is done automatically. And because we use 3ds Max, we use very different kind of plugins. So we convert the FBX that we get from Moverse, and we do it in byte or cut, or and there we
Some
go
rigs.
from
Different rigs.
different rigs, and from there we go to Unreal Engine or whatever kind of engine there is. But yeah, the heavy lifting in essence is done for us, and we do minor tweaks. Yeah.
Great, thank you. So the next question directed at CYENS. And obviously, you've spoken about the different use cases of where motion capture is being deployed, but within often larger simulation models, right? So this question is really directed at data. How critical is standardizing the data that is exported to ensure compatibility with these other models that you're using, simulation models and state-of-the-art models in science applications?
Yeah, I mean, obviously having a system that is able to output data that is in a standard that most systems can understand, that's a win-win situation for everybody. So we wouldn't want to have to develop middleware to be able to handle data that are completely designed by the vendors. So for us, it's very important. I mean, all our models have specific kind of inputs that take. They do have a specific type of representations. For the live link data, we do have a way that we convert everything for the networking part. And it's super useful that the guys at Moverse developed their own live link plugin, so we didn't have to develop our own. We do have the experience of having to do that for other systems, and it's a pain. I mean, if you didn't develop the system yourself, it's a real pain in the nether regions. I don't know, in life. Yeah, but so yeah, it's quite important. So I mean, there's nothing more to say about this.
Yeah, no, I know this from experience. You were bringing two different mocap systems into the same space, and yeah, we've discovered the back end of how these different systems are putting their data out for streaming out is infinitely complex, right? So hard to bring them together.
Yeah.
So yeah, that I relate to that a lot. That I can see obviously in the Moverse interface the different kinds of data that could be selected to be output to into different graphics engines. Okay, the final question for Brandon, Impulse. Obviously you're dealing with the performing arts specifically, and the creators are, this is constantly on the move, moving into different spaces, and there's a hard skills ceiling when dealing with dancers. So what do you find is the greatest sort of headaches you do have to deal with when using Markerless with people who are not skilled in this field already, when you're introducing it to them for the first time?
Yeah, I think a huge barrier, honestly, is just the simple fact, and we're all repeating it to a degree, but especially for performing arts, like simple fact of like seeing the suit is like instantly alienating for dancers, and instantly alienating for people in the performing arts that I've dealt with, because it makes you feel like you need to become something else in order to do your work. And artists don't want to feel that way. And there's a really big challenge there, even if they do get in the suit, to comfort itself physically in the suits, and feeling like you need to change your movement for the system, which is kind of a no-go for most choreographers, right? They don't want to have to do that, then it's no longer helpful to them. So being able to eliminate that is really important before you even begin to talk about, sizing suits and needing to have multiple and things like that, which has continued to not just rise in price, but also, dealing with that headache. And some folks we've talked to, they're instantly drawn to Markerless and Moverse simply because they know like, oh, multiple people are going to use this, right? And so we just need to have multiple people to be able to jump in. We're also seeing that the huge challenge, like I said, is just like simple setup, and we know, we can speak with confidence that we've been able to set up the system with people even remotely, and there hasn't been an issue. So all these things combined, I think, really help us, jump ahead. And particularly, there's this magical moment with Markerless where we're doing a demo where people are playing with it, and they know they can just literally go from sitting on the sidelines to jumping up, and like the system just like picks up who's in there, and like we just couldn't do that before, and that has been tremendously valuable, and just kind of like brightens the room when everyone's like, that's me, and they don't have to like do a whole thing to become, to enter Real Legend.
Yeah, obviously dancers are the most skilled people in exploring modes of embodiment in different types of imagined virtual spaces. So it's a joy to work with them, but you're right that it does, the other sensor systems often change the movement, create an obstacle, an additional leap of faith. So yeah, I've really experienced that myself. So thank you for that. So I think we're going to move into the closing short section of the event today. I don't know if there's any questions that are ready to be forwarded from the audience today.
Thank you, all of you, for the great discussion today. I think that it is really useful to see it in action and what is possible to be done with Moverse capture. So specifically, I would like to thank all the speakers for their presence today, and of course to thank Dan for the coordination of the discussion. There are some questions that, given that we are already run beyond our schedule, we are going to answer them offline. So I hope that with Moverse, we are moving towards a flexible and easy markerless motion capture solution that is going to be one of the new tools that are going to accelerate the workflows in animation, in research, in biomechanics, and all the different applications that can use motion capture technologies. So again, thanks a lot, and we are in touch.